Hi friends, and welcome back to Bullet Journal Engineer. Today we'll make 3 really beautiful weekly spreads, each with different style and design. We'll use mainly watercolors, but I assure you that this is really beginner friendly. I'm sure that everybody can do this, it's not very hard, just dots you will see. We'll also talk about 10 interesting facts about houseplants that each of us takes care in our home. And as always, because I can't keep my thoughts on one topic, we'll probably talk about something else as well. Take your journal and a cup of coffee and let's go! In the last video we made a cover, we explained some basic drawing techniques, so if you haven't watched it yet, check out the links in the description, or if you're coming from there, well, I'm happy to see you here again. We will open a brand new pages which we will hold with clips so that the pages don't fold when we start coloring with the watercolor. Speaking of paints, on the left you can see the paints that we mixed up in the last video. As I mentioned then, it doesn't matter what brand you use, the important thing is to have at least one shade of green, or just to know how to make it. To the right of the camera, I have 2 glasses of water in which I clean the brush so that there are no residual colors in the drawing. But if you're a subscriber, you already know that I love making calendars in each weekly spread just to not lose track of the time. You know, you live your life, you get up early, you go to school, and in the next moment 2 months have passed. The deadlines have passed as fast as seagull taking your meal on a beach, and you didn't even understand how that happened. That's why I make calendars. For better aesthetics and contrast of the green, I will surround the calendar with the gold from the glitter collection of Paul Rubens. Now I'm going to make a diamond shape without a ruler but with a little help. If you want to do things without a ruler, the best way you can do them is to mark the end points. And you see, first I mark the corners as dots and then I connect them. In this way, straight lines are drawn because your brain knows where the end point is and exactly how it should straighten the line. To make the diamond more interesting, you know, outside of the box, I really make it outside of the box. And now it's time to use my improvisation of a cardboard ruler as I lost mine. And with thick micron, I make 7 lines each for one day of the week. Then with a thinner micron, much thinner than the other one, which is like 0.8. Now I'm using 0.05, I make a bottom line. I'm really big fan of combining 2 thicknesses because the eye stops on different things while looking at a page. So it is much more diverse and interesting to look at a page that have different thicknesses of pens. As the saying goes, the devil is in the details. And now, with a brush of Faber-Castell, I start to write the days of the week. While doing this, I will start with the first fact for indoor plants, which is that most of them come from the tropics. Isn't that awesome? Like you have a little jungle in your room. In the nature, they're used to growing under the canopies of tall trees, which explain why they acclimatize so well living under the shade of our roofs. And now I'm gonna make my little jungle on this page. Since in my imagination the sides of my notebook are walls on which I hang various things, I present my rhomboid as a flower pot from which flowers flow and grow. Now you see what I'm talking about. I start with the first leaves by making them typical belly leaves. Don't worry if you can't make a sharp tip. Usually I don't do it as well. And I just help myself with the thin brush so I can sharpen it additionally. And since in the comments in the last video Rene asked me what brush I use Artex Extra Fino 3/0. But not because I chose it from the best brand or something. I just walked into our local art store and I was like, I want this one. Another method of making the leaves is quite satisfying because it's just one line doing, as I do right now. At the beginning, I touch only the tip of my brush and then I press it so that I can make a wide leaf with the belly of the brush, and then I lift it again and let it slide. It's very easy, but since there are right-handed people and left-handed people among us, I advise you to try out to find which position of the journal helps you the most for drawing this particular movement. Now, with a little more darker paint, we will draw a few light shades to the leaves. Nothing complicated, just outline the edges. Meanwhile, I'll continue to do even small leaves with the same paint. As you can see, in the beginning I always start with the lightest colors. I paint a few scattered plants with them, and then I start painting with darker colors. So with each layer I darken and try to mix the plants a bit, like they're tied one over another, if that makes sense. In this way, I really imitate the natural environment where the plants are next to each other and they're never separate. Or at least I think I do this. As I mentioned in my previous video on this topic, the hanging plant is the iconic pattern that I should do on every page. No matter what other plants I do there, I just need to have at least one hanging plant so that the whole theme can be coherent with every page. At least this is my way. You can of course do it wherever you like it. I do the plant hanging down because, as I said, I imagine that this is a pot that hangs on the wall, and I did it from the top and not from the bottom because I'm really happy with this curve as it flows from the pot down, probably. I'm trying to explain it, guys. I continue with different types of plants, and I do actually every shape I can think of. I even make some of the leaves with a negative base in the middle, and yes, they become really elegant. I really like them. This is done by doing the technique with the belly from just like 1 minute ago that I told you, but I connect the two tips of the leaves. And if you find it difficult to control the brush that well, I can do it too as well. You can outline one leaf as well, and you can start filling it from the inside until you get a small white stripe in the middle. It's your choice, wherever you like, wherever it's gonna be more easy for you. I also make a plant like the hanging one, but it stays up, and I want you to notice how different it looks from the hanging one. It's as if they're totally different types of plants. And here is how, with a different stem shape but the same leaves, you can create impression of many different plants. Actually, to change the look of a plant, you just need to change at least one of those three things: stem, leaf, or the color. And talking about change, if you're not subscribed yet and you like this type of video, just make sure to subscribe so you can get more content like this. I will be more than happy to have you here. Or if you don't want to subscribe, that's pretty normal, no worries, but you can give it a like. On the right side, I decided that it would be very cool to make big plants, but somehow I didn't like the improvisation that I did, and I had no brilliant ideas how to fix it, so I decided to be lazy and just glue something on the top. Somewhere I found those brown papers, the craft paper actually, and I tore it apart and glued it over the drawing, and I even added some washi tape for the color. On the next page, I will make my favorite vertical spread. On the top, I will decorate it with our lovely hanging plants from the last video. And to not repeat myself, I told you the technique in the last video, so you can check it out there. Right now, I'm gonna continue with the interesting facts about the houseplants. Really, you're gonna be amazed from some of them, as I was while reading them and collecting them for this video. As we already said the first one, here's the second one, that the plants remove the air pollution and allergens. Especially the indoor plants are customized in living areas of a low light, and therefore they're efficient for capturing a light. This means that they're efficient in processing the gases necessary for photosynthesis. As a result, they're able to absorb other gases, including potentially harmful ones, and helping to improve the quality of our air indoors. Fact number 2 is actually that the cactus likes cold weather. Well, this was pretty surprise for me because usually I put my cactuses near the window where it's the most warm place in the whole house. You know, they live in the deserts. I mean, what cold? But actually it was close to mine that in the desert, when the sun goes down, actually the temperatures can be even to minus. I mean, it's logical that the cactus can survive negative temperatures as well. Fact number 3 is actually that the houseplants are allergic to dust. Well, not allergic in the human way. Unfortunately, the same dust that goes on your laptop, on your books, or everything in your room goes as well over your plant's leaves. which actually is not helping them at all. So it's a good practice just once a month to go with a little brush or cloth and just brush the dust over your plants. You literally help them breathe. And talking about breathing and photosynthesizing, fact number 5, I think, right now, is that not all plants crave for sunshine. There are plenty of plants that can thrive in the dark apartment. Many of them have for tropical climates, but the rainforests are also not that lighty place. So I'm gonna link in the description like the best 9 indoor plants for low light. If your room is not with that big windows, I think those are gonna be perfect for you, so you can check it out in the description. Fact number 6 is that the plants boost your productivity. You may wonder how. Well, unfortunately, I'm not a scientist, but from the research that I read, I'm gonna link in the description, when you place a plant, a greeny plant, in an office, the productivity can jump up to 20%, which is a lot. I mean, there is a logic, people are animals before all. Nature is our home, and actually it's kind of relaxing when you take a walk in a forest or in the near park. Maybe that's the reason, I don't know, but it's a fact, studies show it. Fact number 7 is that the office plants balance humidity. Fact number 8 is that working with plants can be therapeutic. For people experiencing the symptoms of a mental illness, indoor gardening can be really helpful. Researchers trusted sources have used a horticultural therapy to increase feelings of well-being among people with depression, anxiety, dementia, and other conditions. Although horticultural therapy has been around for centuries, it has found a modern expression. Medical clinics in Manchester, England are now prescribing potted plants to patients with depression or anxiety symptoms. And another fact here, we're ready with our second weekly spread. We go to the next page, and I want this spread to be way more minimalistic. This is why I first add green circles where I will write the date. Then I make a few hanging plants in the same way, and I will write the days of the week in one line style. And here we go with our last 2 facts about plants. That plants reduce the noise pollution. From fax machines to printers to phone chatter or tea room drinks, offices or homes can be really noisy and distracting. According to CNN, if you work in an office and they're frequently in front of computers or near printers, actually a plant can benefit your health. Peace lilies absorb electromagnetic radiation emitted by computers and printers and keep the air moisturized. And actually incorporating indoor plants is an effective way to buffer workplace noise without making structural changes. It's awesome, right? The last fact, actually I think is the most interesting one, for me at least, is that the meanings of the flowers comes from Victorian times. We know flowers and plants can be used to convey emotion like I'm sorry or I love you. They also can be used as symbols. For example, orchids are often considered as a symbol of love, strength, and beauty. How are meanings selected? The Victorians not only brought about the modern houseplant, they also assigned meanings to several of them. But there is too long and we don't have time for that, but I'm gonna link it in the description so you can check the meanings by yourself. Now that I'm ready with the drawing and the main fields, what's left for us is a quote. In connection with the facts that I've listed so far, we can draw a significant conclusion. Plants few. Actually, I have a bonus fact, number 11, is that a study shows you that if you swear to a plant every day, not only with insulting words but also emotion, it dies. And when you talk to the plant with good intention, it blooms more. So, of course, they're dependent on other factors such as water, light, and your home cat. But if we put two plants under the same conditions and the only difference between them is our emotions that we express through them, there will be visible difference. That's why I like this quote. Humans are much more complex beings than plants, and we're influenced by so many factors. And if we learn to be kind to those around us, it will make the world a little happier. Because at the end, the ocean is made up of very small drops. Well, I will add here a little disclaimer. If somebody is acting like an idiot, you should tell him that he's acting like an idiot. But do it with constructive criticism, so probably he will realize what he needs to change in him. And you're gonna help the world again. First of all, we need to remind ourselves that the people are people and we make mistakes. Well, this is a longer topic that I don't have time for now. And yep, this is our quote. I'm sure that each of us will understand it in its own way, but as long as you put it in a good way, go for it. Well, if you have questions or you want to continue the topic that I'm talking about in the comments, I'm gonna wait you there. If you like this video so far, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will be more than happy to have you here. And yep, this is the end of the video, guys, and see you in the next one. Until then, don't forget to stay on the sunny side.